Family structure. Although the function or purpose of families around the world is similar, family structure differs significantly from society to society and even from group to group. Because family structure is such an important aspect of pre-modern and modern societies, it has always been a special focus in the social sciences. Kinship versus family. Sociologists and anthropologists make an important distinction between the family and the kinship group, although both are commonly called families in English. Kinship refers to a social network of people who are related by common ancestry or origin, by marriage or by adoption. Kin can include close relatives such as parents and distant relatives such as third cousins. Kin do not always live together or function as a group, but they may recognize certain rights, responsibilities, and obligations to one another. For example, in American society, kin may come together for Thanksgiving or a family reunion. In contrast, a family is a relatively small domestic group that does function as a cooperative unit. In the United States, the family is usually a group consisting of parents and their children. In many societies, though, the family includes relatives from 3 or more generations. For example, a group of brothers and their wives, their sons and their unmarried daughters, and their sons' wives and children may live together or near one another, cooperating to raise food, maintain the home, and care for children and the elderly. If the individuals function as a single unit, sociologists consider them to be a family. If, however, they simply live next door to one another and do not pool their resources, they are viewed as separate families, even though they may be related. During their lifetimes, most people are members of 2 different types of family groups: the family into which they were born, and the family that they create when they marry and have children. Societies differ in the cultural emphasis they place on these 2 groups. Among the Pueblo Indians, for example, the family a person is born into is given a special significance, whereas the family a person marries into is treated more casually. When a Pueblo Indian couple marry, the woman stays in her mother's household and her husband moves in. If the couple do not get along and divorce, the husband moves back to his mother's household with little fuss. Nuclear and extended families. Although the culturally ideal Western family is the nuclear family, a 2-generation family group that consists of a father and mother and their children, usually living apart from other relatives. Variations on this pattern are common. Death and divorce can leave households with only one parent. An elderly grandparent may join the household. Economic problems may force a married child to bring his or her spouse and children to live with the family. When a family is a group that consists of 3 or more generations, it is called an extended family. The 2-parent nuclear family is most typical of the middle and upper classes, and while the single-parent family is found in all social classes, it is more common among the lower classes. Single-parent families are generally the result of divorce and separation, out-of-wedlock birth, and male unemployment. The extended family is also more common among the lower classes, mainly because of economic conditions. Most middle-class nuclear families can afford to hire someone to babysit for their children, to help them move to a new house, or to care for the sick. They are able to borrow money from the bank when they need it for emergencies or for luxury items, such as a new car. Thus, there are few economic reasons for a middle-class family to be extended. The purchase of certain products and services is a luxury that poorer families often cannot afford. Such families generally must rely on family members and relatives to provide the goods and services they cannot afford to buy. A cousin will babysit. A brother will lend money to a sister until the next payday. A grandmother will take the children to a doctor if necessary. Without this network of shared assistance, families with low incomes would not be able to provide for their needs or handle many types of emergencies. The more family members who are available, the more likely each one is to get assistance. Thus, large extended families with strong ties can be a real advantage, indeed a necessity, for lower income families. The global trend toward nuclear families. Family structure around the world has been gradually changing in the direction of the nuclear family. This transition is thought to have begun in pre-industrial rural England. At that time and place, families of 3 or more generations were already a distinct minority. Today, the trend toward a nuclear family seems to be closely associated with the urbanization, industrialization, and modernization of societies. As industry replaces agriculture as the main form of work, younger family members typically leave the farms in rural villages and move to the cities where jobs are located, often weakening ties with those left behind. Once in the cities, families continue to move for employment and other reasons, such as better housing conditions, retirement, and more comfortable weather. The agricultural family is likely to be extended and tied to a piece of land, while the industrial family is nuclear and much more mobile. The decline of the extended family is thus promoted by the changing nature of work. In rural societies, as among the poor and industrial societies, the extended family offers an economic advantage. Each member of the family does some productive work. Less able-bodied family members, such as children, the elderly, or members with a disability, can each contribute in some way to the economic interests of the family unit. In industrial societies, conversely, these family members are treated as less essential economically and are employed only under certain conditions, for example, when there is a labor shortage. They therefore produce little for the family unit, yet they consume at about the same rate as do producers. The extended family can therefore be a disadvantage in industrial societies. The transition from the extended to the nuclear family has brought with it much greater freedom and personal mobility for the individual. In the extended family, an individual's needs are generally of lesser importance compared to the demands of the larger group. Privacy, for example, is hard to find. However, there are negative features to the nuclear family too. Although individuals are freed from a wide variety of responsibilities and obligations, other family members are no longer as responsible for them. Because the family is now a smaller unit, emotional and economic support may be more limited as each family member has fewer people available to turn to for companionship or assistance. The result may be the increased social isolation of individuals.